Welcome to the Final Score Network and the Final Score Podcast, presented by Team Anders Realtors. I'm Andy. He's former NCAA student athlete and co-host.
Ryan, Cam, two-hand monster flush off the inbound. Ryan, Cam, slam, jam.
Subscribe to us on Podbean, the Apple Podcast Store, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at TheFinalScore35 and TikTok at AGSpartanFan35. Oh, and one more note before we get started.
I'd like to apologize to anyone I've not offended yet. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly.
Welcome into the first TFS pod of December 2023, the year of our Lord. Episode 151 here. We got a college football playoff. It's bowl season. Transfer portal open today. It's wide open, just like the Fansville Dr. Pepper commercials. College basketball gets some Big Ten play on. A few conferences are actually playing early, which I kind of like. Some big matchups this week. NFL, we're kind of getting down to the end here. Detroit Red Wings are hot in the NHL, which is great. The Detroit Pistons are the worst team in basketball. I haven't won a game since October, which is hilarious because I hate the NBA. I was thinking about that on the way home from work or from the gym, how much I despise the NBA and don't ever watch it again and never need to. With that being said, we got a lot to talk about as we always do. Let's go to the podium. Levi Williams, if you don't know the name, quarterback of Utah State, young man, really good quarterback for Utah State, had a really good season. Last Saturday, two Saturdays ago now, I guess, put up a huge game with like 5 touchdowns, 300 plus yards passing. Then he announces after the game that he is going to forego playing any more college football or football in general, and join the Navy SEALs. This man's the ultimate patriot, sacrificing his life for our great country. There's not people like this anymore, so I thought that was really cool that he's doing this. There's no more patriots, and he's one of them. So thank you for doing that, Levi. We appreciate it, and wish there were more people that would do this kind of stuff.
Shows you that football is just a game. He's got his head screwed on straight. Kudos to his parents for raising a good young man who made a really brave and selfless decision for sure. My podium could have gone a lot of different ways. Obviously, we'll get into the CFP, but transfer portal opened today, as Ryan said. There were already names going into the transfer portal left and right last week, although today was the first day it opened. It's going to be a record year for a Mount In. It's going to be a record year for guys that don't end up playing college football again. Ryan and I kind of have our own list of don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. We hope you come back. And for those who do leave, how many actually go to Power 5 schools? You could argue that it's Power 4 now that the Pac-12 is gone. It'll just be interesting because in the past, Michigan State has lost very little in the way of guys transferring up. Most of them have transferred down or out or not landed anywhere. So that's a long way to get to. I've got a beef with Ryan Day. I learned a very key thing early on in my basketball coaching career. Now, mind you, I coached youth basketball, I coached AAU, I coached freshman basketball. But from a Hall of Famer, Steve Marley, taught me when you win, it's the players. When you lose, it's the coach. And yet I'm going to read you a little quote from a conversation with Ryan Day when it was announced that Kyle McCord from Ohio State, their quarterback who went 11-1, had a really good season. Was he C.J. Stroud? No. Who is? Was he old boy Bears quarterback? Fields. No. Fields? No. Was he a lot of these other quarterbacks that have been at Ohio State lately? No. But he was himself, and he was good, and he was efficient, and he won a lot of good games for Ohio State. Day was non-committal about McCord's status as a team starter when asked about it on Sunday. Quote, when you come up short, the bottom line is you got to look at everything because you didn't get it done. And that's the thing. That is just sobering here. At 11-1, you come up short on the last possession. It's just not good enough. So you got to look at everything, and we will look at everything. Up yours with a double blazing middle finger, Ryan Day. That is exactly what is wrong with college football. It's why these kids go to the transfer portal ad nauseum. You don't teach loyalty to anybody, and nobody's going to be loyal to you. I hope Ohio State crashes to earth and you get fired, because to treat a quarterback that was arguably a player or two away from beating Michigan and being a 1 or 2 seed in the CFP, you're gonna ship him out because 11-1 and not beating Michigan is his fault completely. I don't think so. First of all, you can look at some of the officiating in that game, which we talked about, the interception that was ruled a touchdown and so on and so forth. Second of all, last time I checked, football is the ultimate team game. One guy doesn't win or lose the game for you. Did McCord throw 2 interceptions? Yep, he sure did. Did the line not protect him on that last interception? Yep, sure did. Did you maybe call some shitty calls and put him in crappy positions with your play calling because you're too damn selfish to give it up to your offensive coordinator? Damn right you did. So rather than send your 11-1 quarterback who worked his ass off for Ohio State up the river, who, oh, by the way, was BFFs with the guy you probably were 11-1 for, and Marvin Harrison Jr., grew up with him, played high school ball with him, kind of like Reed and Thorne.
Yep.
You know what? You deserve what you get. I hope you get nobody out of the portal. I hope you continue to lose to Michigan, as much as I hate Michigan, because a lesson needs to be paid to people like you. You are part of the problem here. We're supposed to be teaching loyalty and what it means to work hard and persevere to these young men, not teach them that they're just as easy to just flick away like a booger as Jim Harbaugh. Oh no, Jim Harbaugh likes to eat his boogers. If you treat young adults like that, they're going to treat you like that. You wonder why we have a problem in society when I have to go hire people, why I have a problem finding people who can get it done. It's because of people like you who set a horrible example for the youth. You want the youth to come in and work their ass off and stay loyal to a program, then you support them. And you say, you know what? I raise my hand, media. You want to give heat? Give it to me. That kid got death threats from dumbass Ohio State fans because they lost to Michigan. Hey, I hate losing to Michigan too. I've never once sent a death threat to a Michigan State player because of it. That is asinine. It's ridiculous. And you are not part of the problem. Guys like you, Ryan Day, you are the problem. Please, somebody send this to Columbus. Let it blow up on your sports radio. Come talk to me. You're an a-hole and you deserve what you get. And I hope you lose in your bowl game. I hope you get fired next year.
Well, the funny thing is, I think a lot of Ohio State fans would agree with you. I think they're kind of growing tired of his shtick. All right, let's go to a tee-up. We have a couple here. You want to do yours first?
Yeah, sure. Mine.
Really good.
Yeah, mine. We both have a tee-up. Mine has to do with replay. It was going to be my podium until I saw the Ryan Day thing today with McCord. I just have a question, and I'm going to flag replay in general, because how can you not get it right? First case in point, the TCU-Georgetown game. Now, granted, it's an early season game, and it doesn't really matter. TCU hits an amazing, banked-in, wild, just past half-court buzzer beater to beat Georgetown on the road. Well, one thing, he was out of bounds, and it was clear, but they said replay can't reverse that. Then what the hell is the point of replay? You make us sit here for minutes upon minutes that feels like hours on end to watch these replays where you're quadruple zooming in on a fingernail to see something, and you can't overturn something as obvious as the guy was out of bounds. That's ridiculous. And we're going to always stick on replay. We got all this beef. People have all this beef about the CFP, which it's about time, honestly, that they did, because here, you do the math. 5 power conferences, 4 slots. It was about time that we were going to have something like this go on. The Georgia-Alabama game, your job as a review guy is to be watching every play in college football. That nobody thought to say, hey, guys, woo, woo, woo. And it wasn't that Alabama went super fast. It was Alabama that they called it catch for, right? Mm-hmm. It, to me, surely looked like he rolled over it and the ball jarred loose when he hit the ground, which is an incomplete pass. Alabama didn't rush to the line of scrimmage. They didn't make it so fast that they couldn't look at it. They showed the replay once or twice, real time, as I was watching the game. And yet you didn't think to buzz that down. And you wonder, you people, you officials, you people who run NCAA and NFL, wonder why fans cry conspiracy theory and think things are fixed? Things like that sure make it look like it's fixed. You have replay at your fingertips. Freaking get it right.
Yeah, terrible. Mine, I was not going to watch the Michigan game, but went with some friends to a local sports bar and watched it. And of course, it's all Michigan fans, and we got the game blaring on the loudspeaker so I can hear every word our favorite announcer, Gus Johnson, had to say. And if I had watched the game, I would have watched on mute because I can't stand this guy. Actually, Joel Klatt, I respect him a little more for him going and challenging Gus. But after Michigan's first carry, Blake the Great, making up nicknames for all the Michigan players, talking about how he's buying stuff on Will Johnson's website, and look at those sweet Cartier glasses, I'm getting myself a pair, and saying, J.J. McCarthy, NFL scouts got to be drooling, and then Joel Klatt goes, Gus, he's probably going to come back next year. He's not ready for the league. He's not good enough.
He was the quote best quarterback in the league of dog shit quarterbacks.
Probably the worst quarterback league. It was really, he probably would have been.
I call those Gus-gasms. And the thing is 5 years ago, Gus was must-see TV, especially with basketball. He was fantastic. He has become Dick Vitale times 12 the over slobbering that Dookie V has on Duke. That's what Gus has towards Michigan. It's not even watchable anymore. I unlike Ryan, I did not watch a down of that game. I checked my phone on occasion. My buddies were watching it. They texted me, kept me up to date. Number one, I'd rather watch paint dry, which was pretty much what I saw in the Florida State game anyway. But I won't watch him. He's unwatchable, and it's sad to say because he used to be one of the best, and he is now officially one of the worst.
I'm talking about how much adversity Michigan has faced. Newsflash for you, Gus. It's all self-inflicted. So I don't know what to tell you.
Because the only people that will call Michigan out for their BS and their cheating are people that are not affiliated with the Big Ten. And it's sad. It's sad, but that's what media is today with politics, too. So.
Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. The only way this is going to stop is Michigan losing, Michigan getting the hammer after the season's over, Harbaugh going away, which we can talk about maybe a little later, but maybe sometimes karma's a bitch and it catches up eventually.
Which leads us into first down.
Yeah, leads us into first down. Let's do this thing. Championship week review. Let's do the small games first, and then let's do it. By the way, I caught up to you. I'm only down 2 points, and I was down by 6 going into the weekend, and I had a nice comeback on you. So
you picked 4 more games right than me?
3. I'm sorry. You went 2-8. I went 5-5. Catching up to you going into bowl season. But Liberty, New Mexico State, didn't watch much of it. But Liberty won 12-0 regular season. Good for the Flames.
As a result, they get to go get their ass kicked by Oregon.
Yeah, what the hell? Well, Oregon might not have anyone playing in it, but still they'll win by 100.
So it might be a game, yeah.
MAC championship, Toledo came in 11-1, lose to Miami. Miami was pretty good in that game when we were watching.
Good defense, and Toledo was on an 11-game winning streak. Their only loss was barely to
Illinois at the buzzer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we had. There was small. Boise State, UNLV. Boise State fired their coach and they won their conference. Do you believe that?
That's crazy.
And they're promoting a guy from within to be their coach. They didn't even do a search. It's really weird. It might be Gary Danielson's son, actually. It's some guy's last name is Danielson, and he looks like him. And he's a quarterback's coach.
Didn't know he had a son.
So I don't know if it is him, but it looks like him, and he's quarterback's coach. So it might be him. Little AAC action. SMU last year in the conference, going to ACC next year. Get the dub with a backup quarterback over Tulane. Willie Fritz. He's gone to Houston. That was his last game as Tulane's coach. Crazy. All right, I think Appalachian State, Troy. Troy smoked App State. We both picked App State. Whoops. But whatever.
No, I picked Troy.
Nope, we picked Appalachian State.
I think you put it down wrong.
Oregon, Washington. Let's go in chronological order.
Great game.
What a game.
Fantastic game.
We both said we thought Oregon would win. I thought that they would win going away. Washington proved me wrong. Their defense is good enough. It's not great. It's solid though.
They are so loaded at wide receiver.
I mean, Adunze is a man.
Their running back is an
Johnson's
animal.
really good. Michael Penix might be the most. I've never seen a guy anticipate where guys are going to be like him.
So effortless and fluid.
He flicks his wrist. It's a perfect ball every time. He is the truth. He's really, really good. And Bo Nix was really, really good in that game.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really screw up. It was a lot of Oregon just not capitalizing, and they couldn't really stop Washington. It was very similar to the
regular
first
season
one.
game. Yeah, fantastic game. Purple Rain Part 1 for the weekend. We'll get to Purple Rain Part 2 in a second down. But, I was super impressed with Washington. I figured whoever got in the playoff is likely going to, between those two, is likely going to be in the championship game.
Yeah,
I think they're just both that good on offense, and their defense Oregon's defense in particular is really good. But Washington they had a good game plan, and they are loaded at the skill positions.
Yeah, I mean, they're for real. Even their tight ends are really good. They're athletic.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch. That is for sure.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yep. Last game of the Pac-12, and now it's to the Pac-2, which, by the way, it's an alliance between Oregon State, Washington, and the Mountain West.
Washington State.
The Washington State.
The Mountain West,
yep.
Six games.
Yep.
Yep.
Interesting. But yeah, that was the Pac-12. Oregon's playing in the Fiesta Bowl, I believe. That's who they're playing, Liberty in.
Yeah, Liberty. As the non-Power 5 team that got in.
I think this is my Washington and Texas were my two teams of the week. Texas is good, man.
Yeah, Texas
they
is
are
really good.
Their offense is.
They're also
Quinn
very
Ewers
skilled.
has improved a lot. He's really good. They're playing with their second, third, and fourth string running backs. Those guys could start at Michigan State, bar none, and they'd be studs. They're all really, really good, really fast, good running backs. Their line's good. They have a stud tight end. They have like 3 or 4 really good receivers, and they stop the run. Their defensive line is legit. Sarkisian, we doubt Texas. We say Texas is back. Texas is back, folks. 12-1. They're in the playoff for the first time. They're back.
State. Oklahoma State's not that great. I mean, Oklahoma State got
but still, I mean,
by
they
UCF,
were a
but
team that
still.
went 9-3. Yeah. It's not like there's some pushover 6-6 team. I mean,
Totally.
They're good. They're favored over Washington right now in that game.
Really?
3.5 point favorite. Crazy. Speaking of that, let's rip off the Michigan Band-Aid real quick. I know you didn't watch it. I was not impressed. Michigan covered the 23.5 point spread.
Now, put it this way. This is the one fact I can spit at you. Michigan, vaunted Michigan, put up less yards of total offense than Florida State with a third-string quarterback, which kept them out of the college
And is
playoff.
Iowa's defense good? Yeah, it's good. But this is the first really, really good defense that Michigan's played, aside from Ohio State. In the last 2 weeks, Michigan's offense has not been able to get much going unless they have a short field.
They didn't do much against Penn State.
No,
They had to run 32 straight
Blake
times.
Corum he's a really good short yardage back. He's really good in the red zone. He's not a guy that's going to pop 60-yard runs and just.
And the anti-Semite has not been very
he's
good this
terrible.
year.
He's been terrible. He's all about himself. Michigan's receivers, they're not great. Their tight ends, I think, are the best part of their offense. They catch everything.
Agreed.
Loveland's a stud. That guy's definitely going to be playing on Sundays. And guess what, guys? The secret's out. Jesus McJr. is no good. He's not good at football. He threw the ball about 30-some times the other day for 130 yards.
I'm going to remind Michigan
Not
fans.
good, guys.
Cade McNamara,
He's mid.
who didn't have all the stars and accolades, got you just as far 2 years ago
Same
as
thing.
JJ.
Maybe he's a little better
It's-
scrambler. That's it.
It's maybe the system. Cade, you could argue, is a better decision maker.
Yeah, I mean, JJ gets away with. I mean, against Iowa, Iowa was inches from picking him off 3 or 4 times on those throws where he sprints right and just chucks it across his body across the field. When you play against a team like Alabama, that's going to be intercepted every time. Mm-hmm. When you played against TCU last year, who had really good athletic linebackers, that was picked off last year. Those stupid plays.
And they don't have the plays. Newsflash.
No, and is their defense good? Yes, I think their defense is good. Their secondary is very good.
But you could shut out Iowa with your eyes
yeah,
closed.
I mean, Deacon Hill, I could have gone without warming up and done the same thing he did. He's terrible. If Iowa had a heartbeat, that game would have been close. If they literally could even do anything.
2 of Michigan's touchdowns came on short fields because of a fumble, which
And
was
a long punt
controversial,
return.
and a long punt return.
Yep. Yeah, just they're not that good.
No.
Their secondary is good. I don't think their D line has a couple good guys, but it's not nowhere near where it's been the last 2 years, and their linebackers aren't great. I think a team like Bama, with athletes, can cause them problems. Ohio State, yeah, do they have Maserati Marv? Yeah, do they have Trey Henderson? Yeah. Alabama has 5 good receivers, good tight ends, good running backs, and a quarterback that can run. And what has given Michigan fits for years? Quarterbacks that can move in the pocket.
They've not come close to playing a quarterback.
No, he's the best quarterback that they've played, bar none.
Yep.
Who's the best quarterback they played? McCord or Alar?
Tagovailoa.
And Tagovailoa is not even that good.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed. I was not
Hauser.
impressed. Yeah, exactly. Then we had Florida State, Louisville.
I watched that
16-6.
game. Florida State's
good for
defense is
them.
dominant, and
Yeah,
one of their
they're
best
good.
players is the Western Michigan transfer.
Yeah, that Verse guy's really
their
good.
defense, which was, the announcers kept saying it because you could tell they were kind of sell Florida State to get into that 4 spot. The defense knew they had to perform like that to win the game, and they did. Like they
Played
they
really
had
well.
a huge interception
Sold
after Louisville had a crazy like they tackled the punter. They didn't even block it. They tackled the punter. They split the seam so well. Short field, and they pick off a pass. Florida State did everything that they were asked to do this year. I've heard both sides of the argument there. I get Michigan fans need to just shut up and not have a voice at the table because
Yeah,
you have
ridiculous.
no
moral high
you're not
ground to stand on,
objective.
guys.
Like your objective is we want the easiest game possible. We don't want to play Alabama, so you don't get a vote. The rest of people, I can get it, but look, at the end of the day, it does matter that their quarterback is hurt. It does matter for the quality of game in the college football playoff because it's all about money. Why do you think the SEC got in? Why do you think Alabama got in over Florida State? Because it's about the money. Mm-hmm. It's a one-trick pony. ESPN, ABC owns the rights. ESPN, ABC now owns the rights for the SEC. Do you think for a split second they weren't going to have an SEC team in there? And here's the thing. If the refs hadn't, I'm not going to say that one play meant the difference between a win and a loss for Georgia. But if they make that call right, things change, momentum changes, and Georgia wins, not even a conversation because then it's Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Washington 3, and probably Texas 4. Florida State 4. Then you get your Florida State in there. I don't even think I think Texas is odd man out then. I feel really bad for Florida State. I feel really bad for the quarterback, apologizing to his fans. Not your place. And look, I saw my buddies sent me a great little TikTok of Drew Brees saying, here's a solution. College football fans want more college football anyway. Have Texas and Bama or Florida State and Bama play a play-in game. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
It's Christmas break coming up. I mean, you're going to go to a 12-team playoff next year. There's going to be extra games. What's the difference? What's the difference? Like I mean, if you really want to solve it, you could have come up with a way to solve the problem. You have the power to solve the problem, and you chose not to. You chose controversy because people talk about it, right? But here's my thing. Are we done looking at the games?
We had the Bama game that we're going to talk about.
Bama, yeah. I mean, Bama, look, Georgia kind of was on the cusp all season. I don't think they were anywhere near as good as the last 2 years.
They're still really good.
They're still really good. They were number 1. That game you knew was a toss-up, and Bama's been playing well. I mean, I get it. They had to get a Hail Mary to beat Auburn, but hey, a couple of years ago, Auburn had to have kick 6 to beat Alabama. Like, that's part of football. So national media eunuchs, as Mike Valenti calls them, baldless wonders, like, spare me that argument. That's not an argument. Close games happen all the time in football. Bama, the transitive property of Bama didn't play, you barely beat USF, and Bama barely beat Auburn, who lost to New Mexico State, therefore they suck. I mean, come on. Just give me a break. Stop with that already. Here's the thing. Here's my solution to the whole problem. No, not one national media person has talked about this. You want to really solve and you want to take the moral high ground and you want to do what's right. Oh, it's wrong to leave Florida State out. It's wrong to leave them out because they went 13-0. First time in 10 years you've had a undefeated Power 5 conference champion left out. So you're going to play the moral high ground? I got one for you to talk about. Then leave Michigan out. Their coach was suspended for 2 different offenses for half the regular season. They played a garbage schedule. They played garbage preseason teams. They played, I get it, they played the Big Ten that they had to play. They beat arguably two good teams. And I'm going to say two because Ohio State was good. Penn State, half a
Solid.
good team. We'll say 3/4 of a good team, and Iowa, a quarter of a good team. Because Iowa had good defense and no offense. So we're going to say Michigan had two good wins. What would you put who didn't have better wins than Michigan? Let's put the cheating part aside. Michigan played, I don't remember exactly, I'd have to look at it, but 6 teams in the Big Ten out of 14 ended up with a losing record. There was one 500. So half the league was losing or
The best
500
team they might have
record.
played was UNLV.
3 teams were 7-5. 8 Big Ten offenses ranked worse than 100. 8. And I know for a fact that Michigan played 3 or 4 of those 8.
Yeah, Minnesota, Michigan State, Iowa.
You want to, and I can't remember some of the other teams. Yeah, Rutgers. You want to look at it. The Big Ten was the worst of the 5 conferences. At me all you want. The Big Ten was by far the worst of the Power 5 conferences this year. And again, let's go back to, oh, by the way, you cheated. You cheated for the last 2.5 years. Now, I get it, Michigan fans get on your soapbox, but we fired the guy and we didn't have all the plays in the last 3 games. We beat Penn State and Ohio State, and then we beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, so clearly we're good enough. Nobody's saying you're not a good football team. In my mind, you're not one of the best 4. I think you're number 5, in my opinion. Take my green glasses off because of the things that I just stated. And I'm going to get on my moral high ground. You don't deserve to be in there because what are we doing? We're saying, go ahead, cheat your way to a championship. We might take it away next year, but it's okay because your fans are all going to remember. Nobody's not going to say Michigan won the national championship. We've been over this for the last how many podcasts? Nobody says the Fab Five didn't go to the championship game 2 years in a row just because the banners don't exist. If you saw it, it happened. It exists. You can't just poof make it go away. So Michigan fans, national media, my challenge to you, you want to look at the moral high ground, look in the mirror, and you explain to me how Michigan can preach the moral high ground when you are swimming in the bottom of a muck-filled swamp.
Yeah, no, echo what you say. It's not surprising out of them. I mean, I have friends that are Michigan fans. We have family that are Michigan fans. But guys, come on, this is you can't take this stance when you know that.
And like Mike Valenci says, okay, Michigan versus everyone. Guess what? You get to play Alabama. Beat them and prove us wrong.
If you think you're the best, you got to beat the best. You
Yep.
got to beat the best coach of all time. Then you got to beat a team, a Texas or a Washington that has offenses that would give you fits.
It's like a number 1 seed in the tournament, hoping that they play all the worst seeds, the 16, then the 9, then the 12, then whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like, stop. If you want to be the best, beat the best. By the way, you ain't gonna beat the best.
Yeah. Georgia, we kind of talked about that. That's fine. That was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game, and like I said, could have easily gone either way. Things would have been probably different, although maybe not. I mean, maybe it was Texas, Florida State would be having this argument instead. Anyway,
Probably.
Second down is presented by Norris Sports Group. Norris Sports Group is a boutique agency of experts with 30-plus years of experience in sports, sponsorship, and much more. Learn more about them today at norrissportsgroup.com.
All right, let's do this thing. It's college basketball. Let me pull up my thing here. We're going to do, you want to talk Big Ten and college hoops at large, I guess, in the last week. Then we're going to pick our Big Ten starting 5, which we've done. This will be our 3rd year doing this.
Are you going to go back and add what they've done so far?
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
I'll add the games. Let's rip through college hoops, I guess, in the last week, I guess.
Your number 1, Arizona.
Yep, not surprised. We do it last Monday, so starting last Tuesday. Kansas almost lost as a 39-point favorite to Eastern Illinois. That would have been funny.
And then they came back and beat UConn.
Yeah,
right?
which was a phenomenal game.
It's too bad it was up against Washington, Oregon.
UConn's really good. They're going to be a good team all year. How about Kentucky? Smoke Miami on Tuesday. Just absolutely curbs them. Probably played one of their best games they played in a couple years. Then they turn around and lose at home to UNC Wilmington, who's a good mid-major team, but they're not anyone that's.
You said it before, Ryan. The parity in college basketball is
insane.
amazing. I mean, Michigan State lost to a good James Madison team, albeit a James Madison team they shouldn't have lost to at home.
Yeah, I mean,
Just like Kentucky lost to a decent UNC Wilmington team, they should never lose to at home.
No.
Kansas should not have to barely sweat out covering a 39.5 point favorite in a game. Like, it's crazy, and it's fun. And here we go, Purple Rain Part 2. I was between texting with Dave and Chris and watching the Oregon-Washington game and then flipping to Northwestern Purdue. Northwestern, hats off to them. 2 wins ever versus number 1, and they happen to be back-to-back against Purdue.
Same calendar year.
In February and then in December. Some teams just have a recipe for beating great teams. Northwestern did that to Michigan State in 1979, too. Almost kept them out of the tournament.
They beat us. They beat us a few times when we were Final Four teams, too.
I mean, there's some teams match up. Like, historically, Michigan State has struggled, for instance, at Penn State for whatever reason. Maybe not this year, or maybe it remains to be seen. But like sometimes there's just schools and teams that teams don't match up with. And Purdue, like Northwestern, kept throwing bodies at Edey, who still shot 22 freaking free throws in the game.
Got fouled 24 times or something.
And they still withstood that, and they had a phenomenal game. Boo Buie was outstanding.
He's a stud.
To think at this time last year, people thought Collins might lose his job, and now he may be going to the NCAA. He'll probably go to the NCAA tournament again.
He will never get fired from there. He's taken them above anything they could ever.
He could get them to their 3rd NCAA tournament in what, like 5-6 years, and second in a row,
in 7 or 8 years. Yeah,
and second in a row, and that had never been done ever there before.
Immortal.
Yeah,
he's immortal.
And he's lost decent players to like Duke and North Carolina.
Yeah.
Like, he's lost good players to the portal.
He has. He sure has. He's done a really nice job there. He's a good coach.
He's got the
just like his pops.
Ugliest team in
just
the
like,
Big Ten.
Yeah, he does. Good Lord.
Just bunch of mouth breathers, but
it's like his pops. Good,
good
coach.
Yeah.
Duke, how about them? They're falling. Duke fans want Shire's head on a stick.
That was not a great loss for Michigan State.
No.
We thought that at the time. But...
Okay, they lost to Arkansas this week on the road, fine. Then they lose to Georgia Tech, who is bringing in a new coach. They were really bad last year.
Mm-hmm.
Not great, Bob. How about Villanova? They won the Bahamas tournament. They looked really good. They smoked Memphis.
Can't beat Penn.
They've lost to Penn. They've lost to St. Joseph. And who was the other? Who did they lose to the other day?
LaSalle.
Was it LaSalle? I can't remember. It was one of the big
I think
five.
it was LaSalle. Yeah.
They have 3 losses, and all 3 of them. Oh, it was Drexel.
Oh, Drexel. That's right.
Fighting Tony Gaines.
The next one to play is LaSalle.
Yeah. They've lost to all of them. Crazy.
Yeah.
How about Colorado State? They might be the new darling this season. They're in the top 15 right now.
And their best player, doesn't he play for Texas or Tennessee now? Was that where he
No,
went?
he was Northern Colorado.
He's Northern Colorado.
No, they have that Stevens guy, point guard. He's really good. Tell you a team who had that tough loss early. I can't remember who they lost to. It was Florida Atlantic. They lost to a bad team, and then ever since then they have like boat raced really everybody. Good. They're really, really good. Good for them. I like Florida Atlantic. I like Dusty May as a good coach. For sure. Let's see. Saturday was a big day in hoops. Wisconsin beat Marquette. That looks like a tough game for Michigan State tomorrow. Played really, really well. They're ranked now 6-2.
Michigan State played just once last week, and took care of a team they should, and they played decent. But the problem is Hogard came off the bench. In fact, he was like the 10th guy off the bench. Came in about 12-minute mark of the first half, and he still was pedestrian. I'm to the point where I just say play Fears and play Holloman with Walker and bench Hogard altogether. He does not do Michigan State any good.
He's disengaged.
It's going to be more important for Michigan State to get Kohler back and in shape and healthy to give them a little bit of a post presence. I think you keep playing Fears more and more. I think you
got to play Carr a little more.
You play Carr a little bit more. You live with some of his mistakes, but he hustles.
He
plays
rebounds.
hard.
He plays
rebounds.
Good defense.
He's really good off free throw rebounds and stuff. A Booker, I've been begging Izzo to play, but he's
not there yet.
He's not there.
He's not. He's going to take a year or two.
Tom, I trust to get that right. I just hope the kid doesn't bolt.
Yeah,
but
that's my fear.
He's got a long way to go. He's got the athleticism.
He doesn't have a motor. He's kind of lazy on just lazy. In general. He He's not
got
strong.
a pure stroke.
He's got a good looking jump
but
shot.
he gets the ball stripped when he goes up for dunks.
Doesn't want to bang in the post. He's weak on. He doesn't move his feet on defense. Yeah. He needs a lot of work, and he just needs to figure out. Maybe he'll figure it out later in the season, like some freshmen do for Michigan State, like Cooper kind of did at the end of last year. But still,
Akins has been playing a little bit better, which is key. Because
Cooper's good. Sissoko played a little better. He's still not great. Walker's got to play better. Holloman's been a nice surprise. He's been pretty solid. Hall's sick. Hopefully he can play tomorrow. He's questionable. That's not great, obviously. But we'll see what happens. Illinois smoked Rutgers on the road the other day.
Ohio State's sitting up on top of the Big Ten at 7-1. They look pretty good.
Yeah,
they're 1-0 in the conference.
How about Penn State losing to in-state rival Bucknell? That was terrible.
That was rough.
Michigan, after they beat St. John's, everyone said, "Oh, Sparty, you're so scared of Michigan. We're so much better than you." I'm sorry, you're 4-4 and you can't play any defense, and you have a coach that gets technical fouls when he's not actually coaching and gets thrown out of games. So talk to me after you fix that crap, which will never be fixed. Juwan Howard is the Mel Tucker to Michigan basketball.
It's funny because Purdue, they got him in the wrong spot here, but I mean, Purdue, Wisconsin, and Illinois are the only 3 ranked teams, but the Big Ten has nobody with a losing record.
No, the Big Ten's, it's going to be
solid. It's
not bad. Nebraska's 7-1. They lost for the first time last night, but
they got run by Creighton, right?
They got smoked.
Yeah.
Purdue's smoking Iowa right now. They're up 20.
Got a little payback time.
Yeah, that's not great. Ohio State's good. Minnesota's probably the worst team. Minnesota and Penn State are probably the 2 worst. But it'll be a fun season. Looking forward to Indiana's okay. They're getting there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Let's pick those 5. I get to go first because I won last year, of course. Mm-hmm. I think you won the first year we did it, if I'm not mistaken. If this loads, I can tell you who.
No,
won.
I think you won that year too. I
hardly did. I won by less than 100.
I decided to change my strategy.
21-22. If you want to hear our teams, in 2021-2022, my team was Johnny Davis, Boo Buie, Ron Harper Jr., Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, and yours was E.J. Liddell, Trace Jackson Davis, Kofi Coburn, Pete Nance, and Travion Williams.
I tried to go with guys that could get points and rebounds.
Mine was last year, Edie, Chris Murray, Jalen Pickett, Donta Scott, Tyler Wall, and yours was Terrence Shannon, Trace Jackson Davis, Tyson Walker, Justice Sue, and Cliff Amarui. And I beat you by almost 300 last year.
Yeah.
All right, let's go this year. We'll do snakes. I'll go first, then you go second, third. I'll go fourth, fifth, back and forth. I got to go with Edie, man. He's going to score. He's going to be the player here.
Not to.
He's going to be the player.
I'm going to go. Give me Bowie and Thornton.
Okay, nice. Those are on my list, but let me look at my trusty list I built up. I'm going to go... I think I'm going to go Terrence Shannon and Tyson Walker.
Okay, I had both of those guys on mine. I'm going to go with Cricky, the Valpo transfer for Iowa. He's their leading scorer.
Is he of relation?
No. Thank goodness. Do I get to pick again? Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go with Ware.
Oh, good pick. I had him on my list, too. Leaves me in it. I'm going to go Jameer Young and Dawson Garcia from Minnesota. He plays on a crap team, but he had 38 points last night.
Yeah, he's nice.
he's a juggernaut.
All right, this I can't believe I'm doing this because it really pains me to do it.
You're going to do Doug, aren't you?
He's a producer.
You're doing Doug.
Doug McDaniel.
Dougie's a bucket.
He's a producer for Michigan.
McBucket's
he scores.
Yeah, he's good.
He dishes the rock a little bit. He can even get some rebounds.
He's gotten a lot better.
What I learned is if you look at my teams in the past, I went for guys that could score and rebound. You got to get scores because if you can score 20 points a game but only get 5 rebounds, that's better than 10 points a game and 7 rebounds, right? Like all day. So you got to start with points. So I looked at points first, and then I looked at some other guys that are good. I had Dawson and Reese as some other potentials on my list.
I was thinking maybe Sanford.
Yeah, but Cricky's the leading guy for Iowa right now.
Ace Baldwin from Penn State, he passes and scores, and then Tomanaga possibly.
Oh, Kabakati.
Yeah, I hate him, but he can score. All right, those are Big Ten teams. We'll keep tabs on those moving forward. All right, you want to do a quick little...
Yeah, now a word from our presenting sponsor, Team Anders Realty, will help you find the home that fits your wants and needs, and they make the process simple and fun along the way. For example, every year they do a little coupon for the Hart Christmas Tree Farm here in Rockford, Michigan, and we always get a wreath out of the deal, so we always appreciate that, having been a customer. The Anders have served thousands of clients, like the Gams, for 30-plus years in the West Michigan area and are here to serve you today. Learn more at teamanders.com. All right, we did not get any Mitchapalooza mailbags. We did not get any Chris mailbags this week. We didn't get any Munna mailbags. So we did get an idea courtesy of Chris, and that's for Christmas bracket. So for the first time in a while, we're going to do a Christmas bracket. Mostly movies, but there's one foursome of cartoons in here too. So first up, we got number 1 seed Christmas Vacation against number 4 seed Christmas Story.
Christmas Vacation. I hate Christmas Story.
Then we got 2 seed Elf versus 3 seed The Santa Claus 2.
Elf.
And I'm going to agree. I'm going to go 1, 2 in there as well. Then we're going to go 1 seed It's a Wonderful Life against 4 seed Bad Moms Christmas.
I'll go classic. It's a Wonderful Life. So a lot of people don't like that movie.
I love that movie. Such a good movie. I got to go with that too. Bad Moms Christmas is really good, but It's a Wonderful Life is one of my favorite movies. 2 seed Holiday versus 3 seed Office Christmas Party.
Tough choice. I'll go Office Christmas Party. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've got to agree with that. It's just Holiday's really good. I really like it, but it's not as good as Office Christmas Party. All right, then we're getting the cartoon genre. Rudolph, number 1, versus The Grinch, number 4.
I hate the Grinch. Rudolph, baby.
Yeah, Rudolph. I'm cute, Santa. Gotta go Rudolph. Yeah. 2 seed Charlie Brown Christmas against 3 seed Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty the Snowman can kick rocks. Charlie Brown.
You really don't like Frosty.
I hate Frosty the Snowman.
He did not steal the hat.
It's mother effort.
He's not from South Chicago.
He's wanted his hat.
That dumb magician threw his hat away. It's his problem.
He wanted to.
Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. That said, I'm going to go with Charlie Brown Christmas as well. And in the next bracket, number 1 seed Polar Express against number 4 seed Santa Claus 3.
Polar Express. I don't like the Santa Claus 3 really.
Polar Express is a good one. The first 2 Santa Claus movies are actually really good.
Yeah.
And then number 2 seed Home Alone against number 3 seed Die Hard. You've probably never seen Die Hard.
I don't think I have.
It's actually
Bruce
really
Willis.
good. Yeah, it's a really good movie.
He has dementia.
Yeah. Too bad.
I'll go Home Alone.
Yeah, I'm going to go Home Alone too. I had to throw Die Hard in there for those people who actually think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I don't look at it that way. I think it's a good action thriller, but it's not a Christmas movie. So yeah, it's pretty much chalk. We have all the same picks, and it's mostly 1s and 2s. So Christmas Vacation, Elf.
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I got to go same. Elf is really good. They could have met up in the Final Four, not to get to the Final Four, but It's a Wonderful Life, Office Christmas Party.
I'm going to go Office Christmas Party to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to go It's a Wonderful Life, although Office Christmas Party, it's a can't miss. Rudolph, Charlie Brown Christmas.
Let's go Charlie Brown.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I like that. Rudolph's great, the claymation, but I like just something about the Charlie Brown Christmas. All right, Polar Express, Home Alone.
Polar Express.
Polar Express it's really good. I got to go with Polar Express as well. So you've got Christmas Vacation against Office Christmas Party.
Christmas Vacation.
And I've got Christmas Vacation against It's a Wonderful Life. I've got to go Christmas Vacation because I am Clark W. Griswold. And then you've got Charlie Brown Christmas against Polar Express.
Polar Express.
And then I have Charlie Brown Christmas against Polar Express. I'm going Charlie Brown Christmas. And then you have Polar Express against Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
And I've got Christmas Vacation as well. So Christmas Vacation wins it. Chris, send us what your results would have been. And if you have an idea for a different Christmas bracket, by all means, let us know. Sometimes we throw things in the sprint. And, of course, send us your questions, thoughts, concerns. I mean, we didn't even get into transfer portal. There's a lot to talk about in transfer portal. We didn't get into Oregon State's new coach throwing shade.
I want Childs.
Well,
Jackie Childs.
Aiden, don't call me Jackie Childs. But we didn't get into Oregon State's coach
Screw
throwing
him, man.
shade at Smith. I
He
didn't
was
like
gonna
the
come
way
to
that
Michigan
went down.
State.
Exactly. You didn't like the way that went down. You're just trying to buy your fans back. So keep your mouth off Jonathan Smith. That's all I can say.
It's our boy. Don't shade him.
I will say this is not a mailbag thing, but I like what Michigan State's doing right now. I think they're more active in a more positive way than Tucker ever was.
Yeah,
I think they've reprioritized Michigan and Ohio. So even a lot of the guys, not only in the transfer portal, but guys that have been offered and have offers and are committed to other places that are Michigan guys that Tugger didn't touch. Michigan State is quickly going after, in addition to some of the better recruits that Smith had at Oregon State, which are more national level recruits. So as he builds his staff, yes, we're waiting on defensive coordinator. That's got to be a question. I'll ask that as a mailbag question. Who do you think it's
I have that as the sprint question.
Okay, so we'll skip that. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things that we didn't talk about, so we've got plenty to
How about this
converse
one?
about.
Will Jim Harbaugh be Michigan's coach next season?
Nope.
No. And who will be their coach?
Will they vacate whatever they win? I think so too.
I think I think he's a good coach.
Uh-huh.
I think he's better than Harbaugh.
Yeah.
He's not a weirdo.
He doesn't pick his nose and eat it.
He's not as much of a freak.
All right, that is third down, fourth down, NFL time.
Rip some quick NFL. Let's start with Thursday night. Dallas versus Seahawks. It was a high-scoring game. Usually the unders have been hitting in these games way over. It was in the 40s, wasn't it?
Like 41-35 or something like that, I think.
Crazy. Dallas gets it done. Seattle's kind of fallen hard times. They've been hurt a little bit, haven't played as well. They're on the outside looking in right now in the playoff picture, which is pretty crazy.
Let me pull that up. We can tell you.
Yeah. Let's see. NFL.
AFC. So the AFC right now, Miami, Baltimore, Jacksonville, who's winning right now, I think. It's tied. And Kansas City, who lost, are your division leaders, and your wild card leads are. There's 4 teams at 7-5, and really 2 teams at 6-6. So there's 6 teams arguably
the
in play.
AFC's tough.
And actually, Cincinnati won tonight; they'd be in play too. But Pittsburgh 7-5, Cleveland 7-5, Indy 7-5, Houston 7-5, Denver on a great comeback trail 6-6, although they lost this weekend, and Buffalo 6-6, and then if Cincinnati wins tonight, they would be 6-6. So there's really probably arguably 7 teams. There's more than that are technically alive, but it's a pretty wild card race in the AFC. The NFC, Philly got curb stomped by San Fran last night.
Yeah, how about Philly,
absolutely destroyed. Deebo Samuel owned
the 49ers are.
So Philly's your current 1 seed. San Fran's your 2. Detroit's your 3. They're tied with San Fran, but they're, I think, the 3 seed. Atlanta is winning the South at 6-6. The South is Atlanta, Tampa, or New Orleans. It's a crapshoot. Lions are pretty much guaranteed unless they completely fall flat and somebody rises.
I mean, they're going to make the playoffs somehow regardless.
And then your wild card in the NFC are Dallas is 1 at 9-3. Big game with Philly this week.
Yep.
Minnesota, Green Bay, Rams, Seattle.
How about Green Bay? 4 in a row. Jordan Love's playing better, but I noticed this last night when they were blitzing him. He craps his pants. He throws the ball off his back foot out of bounds every time. I would blitz him.
It's like Goff. Goff struggles when he's getting.
He's terrible. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Vikings. I think the Packers will eventually leapfrog the Vikings here. I think the Rams are going to be a playoff team.
Teams here. You got Dallas has won 4 in a row, and they play Philly. They have a tough schedule coming down the stretch, but they'll make it out of the wild card. Minnesota has lost 2 in a row, so they're kind of teetering. It's catching up to them that they don't have Kirk. Green Bay's won 3 in a row. The Rams have won 3 in a row. Seattle has lost 3 in a row at 6-6. And then Tampa and New Orleans are in play at 5-7, but they're more in play.
And everyone else is out.
In the AFC, Pittsburgh, they lost their starting quarterback and already bad offense. They've lost 1 in a row. Cleveland has lost 2 in a row. They're on like their 3rd or 4th
the Colts are good.
Colts have won 4 in a row. Houston has been playing 1. They won a game. Denver had won a bunch and they lost 1. Buffalo lost 1. Cincinnati's lost 3, depending on what happens tonight. So
yeah, the NFL's it's going to be a fun race. How about this? I saw this last night. Matt LaFleur as the Packers coach, 16-0 in December.
It's pretty remarkable.
Pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bad, and they're playing a little better.
Their receivers are playing
but
well.
Watson's hurt now again.
Oh, did he get hurt again? Because
Yeah,
Reed
he's
is
a walking injury. Reed's been really good. Dobbs is good.
But it's hard for Reed to be great if he doesn't have another guy opposite him.
Yeah, I mean, and their defense is playing a little better. So is their line. I don't know. I think Minnesota's going to fall. Josh Jobs, the Cinderella Disney movie story. You know, the first 2 weeks he was great. I think the secret's out. He sucks.
Yeah,
he's not good. Figure out what he does. There's tape on him. He's okay. It's a nice story, but he's not good. I have this sick feeling we're going to get a little bit of Detroit versus Mr. Matthew Stafford in the playoffs, and I think the Lions will lose that game because that's the way the NFL wants it.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of fun. If I were the Lions, the teams that I would want to play in the playoffs are the Rams or the Vikings. The Packers, I don't know. With their
the way
weapons,
they played against them on Thanksgiving, I don't know.
They won't play the Cowboys unless they slip to the 4, which I doubt they will because they went 4-0 against the NFC South.
Right.
So they're probably going to get the 3, so they'd probably most likely avoid Dallas. It's either going to be the Vikings, Packers, Rams, or Seahawks, I would guess, or maybe one of the NFC South teams if they somehow sneak in up to that 6th spot. But I don't want to play the Seahawks, and I don't want to play the Packers. I'd be fine with playing the Vikings or Rams. But yeah, the Lions, get to them. Started off awesome, and then they fell back down to earth. Had to take away this comeback from New Orleans. The Lions' offense played a little better, more clean. Ragnall, once he went down, they stopped running the ball well.
Yeah, turnovers mattered. The Lions did
2
not turn it
turnovers
over.
they forced.
Mm-hmm. And they were deep inside territory.
We're big. Goff played a little bit better. I think he made some plays when he had to. The run game was fine. Some drops by receivers. Sam Laporta is a top 3 tight end in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he's great.
He's a stud. He's on pace to shatter every rookie record by a tight end. He's been phenomenal. Tell you what, kudos to the Lions linebackers. Alex Anzalone was hurt. He's kind of the heart and soul, knows everything the defense. Derek Barnes, Rodrigo, Jack Campbell, and Jalen Reeves-Maybin. They played really well. The linebackers were great for the Lions yesterday. It was the secondary giving up big plays again. The Lions defensive line.
Well, and again, because Hutchinson's horrible.
Hutchinson's terrible. I'm sorry.
He's the most selfish
Michigan fans
defensive
that
end
are out
I've
there.
ever
He's selfish. He only does it for himself. If he only is good if he has another guy next to him. And the reason why he came on the end of last year was because James Houston was so good. The Lions don't have that right now. Bruce Irvin, did he have that awesome sack? Yeah. He's 37 years old and he just started playing again. It's not like he's some spry guy that's in his prime right here. The Lions need Houston back. They need to get healthy on the D-line, and they need to blitz a little bit more and take chances because their secondary is not that good. Jerry Jacobs would be a great third corner, absolutely. He's not a starting, boundary corner in the NFL. I'm sorry, he's not. And Tracy Walker's not been playing great. I pray to God that somehow Gardner Johnson heals up and you can get him back for the playoffs or something because we need a guy like that to go with Kirby because Kirby's been playing pretty well. And Branch has been good. I feel like ever since he had the injuries, fallen off a little bit. Maybe lost his step.
He's also a rookie. So.
Yeah, I mean, which is understandable. But the Lions next year, man, they need another corner. They need pass rushers and probably one more receiver, and they might be the favorite next year in the NFC. But the NFC's tough. The San Francisco's young. The Eagles are young. But Hurts is in concussion protocol right now.
Oh, is that why he went out for a little while? And then he went back in the game.
Yeah,
That's not a good concussion. And they play the Cowboys this week.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great. And how about this one? 49ers odds-on favorites to win the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP.
As Mr. Irrelevant.
That's insane.
Let's introduce him to your sister.
I'm sorry. Brock is a great game. I don't think he's an MVP quarterback, but I think it's a lot of the system. But whatever, man.
The MVP is the running back.
Yeah, McCaffrey.
He's a stud.
Oh,
that dude is. Or Samuel Debo just destroyed the Eagles.
Brock Purdy's good. Don't get me wrong, but he has it pretty easy. He has McCaffrey. He has Kittle. He has
CMC.
He has Debo. Ayuk. He has Ayuk. He has Juwan Jennings, who's a really good third receiver.
Even Ronnie Bell is a decent fourth
Yeah,
receiver
then,
for them.
then Kyle Juszczyk's one of the best fullbacks to ever play the game, and they have the best defense in the league. It's like, whoa,
Yep, totally
tough.
agree.
That's a team I would not want to see in the playoffs, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Never know.
We'll see what happens. We only got 5 weeks left of the regular season. Crazy. But yeah, let's do sprint if you're ready for it.
Let's go.
All right. We can talk about that. We can talk about golf. Well, Tiger was back. Could have talked about that in mailbag.
Oh yeah.
Glad to see him. Scotty won that tournament. That rollback is happening. Does that mean that we are going to have to buy new golf balls and get rid of the ones we have now? This is the question. What's that mean?
Is that the sprint question?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think probably
That just means from now
without
on they're going to sell balls.
that and without reading it, I think if you were to play in like a tournament, like if you were to play in an amateur
You have
tournament,
to have a certain
or if your
make
club
or model.
yeah, like if I think of when I played in the Invitational at Blythefield, if they made that, or the club championship, if they made that the rule, then you would have to. But I think for average Joes like us, look, like somebody said, that's rolling back the ball is the difference between a 225-yard weak fade and a 210-yard weak fade. Like it doesn't really matter. And I get why. I don't get why you're going to make the average Joes get the golf balls, but I don't think the average Joes are going to go out and throw away what we have. And then
No, you think I'm throwing away Pro V ones?
No.
To hell with you.
No.
I'll do that one last. Position MSU needs to target most in the portal.
Well, quarterback, because they don't have one right now. They don't. They're one recruit who was a lacrosse recruit originally, and then their 3 quarterbacks from last year are all in the portal. So I think they need to hit it hard. If they can get a Childs, that would be huge because I think that recruits other guys. I think if you can't get him, there's plenty of other guys out there, like the kid from Detroit who's in the portal from UCLA. I think there's lots of good players in there, but I just think Childs is a guy that gets you 3 or 4 or 5 other really good offensive weapons if you get him.
Yeah. I'm going to go outside of that. I'm going to say O-line / receiver. I think Michigan State needs a game-breaking speedster. Because let's face it, they didn't have that. They haven't had that since Reed, and Reed was a little dinged up last year, so they really have that. Keon Coleman was a great possession, mossing red zone threat, but he wasn't a burner by any stretch. For Michigan State, he is now, but Michigan State really had that since when they had Reed and Naylor, so I think we need that. And then some beef on the offensive line. Who will Michigan State's defensive coordinator be in 2024?
So, I think we're waiting to see if
Ferentz retires?
If Ferentz retires, because I think then it's Parker, and I think he's seriously considering it anyway. I think he's thinking if Ferentz comes
Finish
back
my
for a
career
year,
at my alma mater.
Yeah, do I go back to Michigan State? He's 60. But, a coordinator coach, they don't have as much of the stress that a head coach does. I think at 60, you could go another
He's a good recruiter,
6, 7 to 8, 10 years. I mean, Iowa's had plenty of good players. He'd be my first choice. I think the other 2 guys that I always hear their names, and I would be honestly fine with one of them, you wouldn't, but I would be fine with them, and that's Jim Leonard, certainly.
Yes.
Again, a good young coach, and then he'd be more my third choice. But I honestly wouldn't have a problem with Mike Tressel just because he gets the landscape. He knows recruiting the Midwest. I think he was a pretty good defensive coordinator with D'Antonio. I think he's got familiarity with the program. So, those 3 guys. I know Lake, from the former Washington coach, he was kind of caught up in a scandal there with, was he abusive to players? Who knows? They said that Fleck was too. So, I mean, he's probably an outsider as a maybe. He's currently with the Rams, right?
Yeah, my choices are Parker 1. That's my home run hire. Then I think it would be Leonard, then Lake as my other 2 options I'd want.
I expect it to happen soon because that's really
you need it.
We don't know where Harlan's going to land, but everything is pointing to and has been pointing to he's going to stay on the staff, and then Hawk keeping the wide receiver
maybe not
job.
though.
So.
I heard that some people are trying to poach him. Other Power 5s. Last one, in honor of National Cookie Day. We've said our favorite store-bought cookie. What's the most underrated?
Underrated cookie or store-bought?
Store-bought cookie. Brand.
Oh, like grocery store brand.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Fudge Stripes might be the most underrated.
You know what my most underrated is? Famous Amos.
Oh, Famous Amos are
Those
pretty
are.
good. I like Chips
I
Ahoy
used to
better.
love those when I was a kid. I think Chips Ahoy taste too manufactured.
Like, and I will say that I was, like, we always had Oreos around when I was a kid, and I was like, Oreos are
Oreos
a damn
are amazing.
good cookie. An Oreo is a damn good cookie.
All right, that's it. 151. Let us know if you have any mailbag questions you want us to discuss.
Feed the mailbag. Come on, Mitchapalooza.
Might do a little bowl pool. If anybody's interested, let me know, and I can possibly muster that up. Do a little $5 or $10 buy-in, something like that. But let me know if you'd be interested, and I can, if I have enough people, we can run that, and it'd be kind of fun. Not with every bowl, of course, but the big ones, some select ones. So
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right. In honor of our mailbag this week, as the conductor said in the Polar Express, one thing about trains, it doesn't matter where they're going. What matters is deciding to get on.